coming out of the street, standing at the lectern, the podium of the Speaker Cup, and addressing the nation. But they're all lined up.
Pretty much bang on with it. Most loyal ministers to the very last.
Even when we saw her emerging from the door last night, she was there, and the door is open, and here comes the Prime Minister.
Therefore, a new Prime Minister, and I agree with Sir Brady, the chairman of our backbench MPs. The process of choosing that new leader should begin now, and the timetable will be announced next week. And I've today appointed a cabinet to serve, as I will, until a new leader is in place. So I want to say to the millions of people who voted for us in 2019, many of them voting Conservative for the first time, thank you for that incredible mandate, the biggest Conservative majority since 1987, the biggest share of the vote since 1979. And the reason I have fought so hard in the last few days to continue to deliver that mandate in person was not just because I wanted to do so, but because I felt it was my job, my duty, my obligation to you to continue to do what we promised in 2019. And of course, I'm immensely proud of the achievements of this government, from getting Brexit done to settling our relations with the continent for over half a century, reclaiming the power for this country to make its own laws in Parliament, getting us all through the pandemic, delivering the fastest vaccine rollout in Europe, the fastest exit from lockdown, and in the last few months, leading the West in standing up to Putin's aggression in Ukraine. And let me say now to the people of Ukraine that I know that we in the UK will continue to back your fight for freedom for as long as it takes. And at the same time, in this country, we've been pushing forward a vast programme of investment in infrastructure and skills and technology, the biggest in a century, because if I have one insight into human beings, it is that genius and talent and enthusiasm and imagination are evenly distributed throughout the population, but opportunity is not. And that's why we must keep levelling up, keep unleashing the potential of every part of the United Kingdom. And if we can do that in this country, we will be the most prosperous in Europe. And in the last few days, I've tried to persuade my colleagues that it would be eccentric to change governments when we're delivering so much, and when we have such a vast mandate, and when we're actually only a handful of points behind in the polls, even in mid-term after quite a few months of pretty relentless sledging, and when the economic scene is so difficult domestically and internationally. And I regret not to have been successful in those arguments, and of course it's painful not to be able to see through so many ideas and projects myself. But as we've seen at Westminster, the herd instinct is powerful. When the herd moves, it moves. And my friends, in politics, no one is remotely indispensable. And our brilliant and Darwinian system will produce another leader equally committed to taking this country forward through tough times, not just helping families to get through it, but changing and improving the way we do things, cutting burdens on businesses and families, and yes, cutting taxes, because that is the way to generate the growth and the income we need to pay for great public services. And to that new leader, I say, whoever he or she may be, I say I will give you as much support as I can. And to you, the British public, I know that there will be many people who are relieved, and perhaps quite a few who will also be disappointed. and I want you to know how sad I am to be giving up the best job in the world. But them's the breaks. I want to thank Carrie and our children and all the members of my family who have had to put up with so much for so long. I want to thank the peerless British Civil Service for all the help and support that you have given our police, our emergency services, and of course our fantastic NHS, who at critical moment helped to extend my own period in office, as well as our armed services and our agencies that are so admired around the world, and our indefatigable Conservative Party members and supporters, whose selfless campaigning makes our democracy possible. I want to thank the wonderful staff here at Chequers, here at Number 10, and of course at Chequers, and our fantastic prop force detectives, the one group, by the way, who never leak. Above all, I want to thank you, the British public, for the immense privilege that you have given me. And I want you to know that from now on, until the new Prime Minister is in place, your interests will be served and the government of the country will be carried on. Being Prime Minister is an education in itself. I've travelled to every part of the United Kingdom, and in addition to the beauty of our natural world, I found so many people possessed of such boundless British originality and so willing to tackle old problems in new ways, that I know that even if things can sometimes seem dark now, our future together is golden. Thank you all very much. Thank you.
History, as we did, as we were crouched on the floor in front of the Prime Minister. Robert's with me here to give his first take on it. Robert,
So some of it was absolutely unpredictable, about the services. I suppose, strikingly, there was no hint that he thought he'd done something wrong. The closest he came describing the events that him out was he said, politics follows the herd. He was basically saying...
the herd mentality kicked in.
And so he's basically saying, just state the obvious. So many users, so many started to resign, so many MPs said they never done the end of the game, so that.
We have to show the EU that we're serious about our negotiations. So I'm going to keep voting for a deal, keep voting for a good deal, and keep voting to stop Labour taking no deal off the table.
Very similar to the complaints that were made last week of inappropriate touching of individuals, and that complaint was upheld, and the Prime Minister was informed by a senior Cabinet Office official that this complaint against Chris Pincher had been upheld.
I spoke with Number 10 both yesterday and today, and I asked them firmly and clearly for an answer on this, and I've been given categorical assurance that the Prime Minister was not aware of any serious specific allegation with regards to the former Deputy Chief Whip.
He was told that the Permanent Secretary had taken the necessary action. No issue, therefore, arose about remaining as a minister. And last week, when fresh allegations arose, the Prime Minister did not immediately recall the conversation in late 2019 about this incident. As soon as he was reminded, the Number 10 press office corrected their public lines.
But I haven't concluded that the problem starts at the top. That is not going to change. I have concluded that the problem starts at the top, and I believe that is not going to change. And that means that it is for those of us in a position who have responsibility to make that change.
I think Rishi Sunak has just resigned. I'm just getting this through on my phone, a tweet here from Rishi Sunak saying, the Chancellor saying the public rightly expect government to be conducted properly, competently and seriously. I recognise this may be my last ministerial job, but I believe these standards are worth fighting for. This is why I am resigning.
A former top civil servant says Boris Johnson was briefed in person about a formal complaint concerning the MP Chris Pincher's behaviour, directly contradicting the account from Downing Street.
I know that the senior official briefed the Prime Minister in person because that official told me so at the time.
This constant charade just will not wash. These latest disturbing allegations about the ministerial misconduct are all about abuse of power. And there is one common fault, Mr. Speaker, with the system currently that the Minister spoke about, and that's the power that's granted by this Prime Minister.
But frankly, Mr. Speaker, the job of a Prime Minister in difficult circumstances...
Boris is battling back.
...mandate is to keep going. And that's
refusing to admit his time as Britain's Prime Minister is up.
And that we are seeing, and it shows the government is firmly on the side of the British people. We're on your side, but what we're doing is not just using our fiscal firepower to help people. Right now, we're also taking the steps that are necessary to bear down on costs over the medium and the long term as well. Reforming our energy market, reforming our housing markets.
He claims that no rules were broken. He claims he didn't know what was happening in his own house last Christmas. I don't believe him. His MPs don't believe him, and nor do the British public. He's taking the public for fools, and it's becoming dangerous.
Do you want again?